The San Jose Sharks are in need of another goalie to back up Yaroslav Askarov. We look at the market.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be examining the goalie market. We're going to be looking at free agent goalies and goalies who I think could be available via trade that won't cost too much. So before we get to a wide list of potential goalies, I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So we know Yaroslav Askarov is pretty much kind of penciled in to be one of the starters heading into next season. The Sharks, of course, don't have another goalie signed right now. We know Alexander Georgiev is a UFA. Mike Greer has already said, thank you for your services. We're not going to be re-signing you. You have Georgi Romanov, who's also an RFA that the Sharks can re-sign with arbitration rights, and I think is probably going to be your Barracuda goalie. And you have Gabriel Carrier, who's also an RFA. So the Sharks technically have one goalie under NHL contract as of right now. I do assume Carrier and Romanov both get signed, and that's probably your Barracuda tandem. So the Sharks need to find somebody, and Greer has kind of already come out and said, we want to try to find somebody with some experience, right? We don't want another young goalie back there. So I'm looking at kind of the veteran market, right? And we're going to start with the free agents here, and then we're going to look at some potential trade options to try to find that next Mackenzie Blackwood type of player, maybe a guy who might be coming off an injury, or maybe he's in a crowded, kind of group right now, crowded room with his current team, and some options that the Sharks could potentially acquire that wouldn't cost you much. I'm thinking like a late round type of pick for most of these types of players. So let's start with Jake Allen, who I think is the best available free agent goalie on the market. And spoiler, the goalie market, not super pretty, to be honest. It is there's not a lot of names out there. So we're gonna start by again looking at Jake Allen. So Jake Allen, 6'2", 197 pounds, 35 years old, coming off a 2-year contract at $3.85 million. Last season with the Devils, he played 31 games, 2.66 goals against average, 906 save percentage, 77 goals allowed on expected goals of 95.4, goals saved above expected in 18.4 with a 789 high danger save percentage. Allen has been a player who's been in the league for a while now, especially at this age of 35. And, he started his career way back in the day with the St. Louis Blues, was a long-time backup for the Blues, was a long-time starter for the Blues until Jordan Binnington kind of took the job from him. Of course, in the that 18-19 season, became expendable, was traded to Montreal, where, he kind of platooned it there with them, and then eventually got traded to the New Jersey Devils, the 23-24 season, and then has spent the last 2 seasons with the Devils. Is a guy with his 460 games under his belt, 907 save percentage during that time, 276 goals against, with 28 shutouts. Like, he is a guy who has, he has seen a lot of hockey in his day. And had a very nice season for the New Jersey Devils. looking at how he's played over the last 3 seasons with his WAR, definitely has actually the 2 seasons with the Devils have really kind of bounced back. This, he was a 60% WAR over the past 3 seasons. This year, that WAR number was closer to like 90%. You can see like the way, if you're watching on YouTube, if not, I'll explain it. But his even strength and penalty kill like numbers are pretty solid. He's very good with the medium danger saves. So it's kind of like high slot, or kind of maybe like those type of areas. He's very good with those. High danger save percentage, not the best. And as a team like the Sharks, is something you have to keep in mind as a team that does give up a lot of high dangerous opportunities. But you're going to get quality starts from him. You're going to get usually when he goes out, you're going to have a pretty solid night from him, which is what I think the Sharks are looking for from him, like from their backup goalie, right? Just a nice even consistency from him. Last year with the Devils, he actually kind of outperformed kind of expectations, especially with the team in front of him. He was very good even strength. He was kind of solid shorthanded. So a player who I think probably outperformed a little bit of what you would expect from him. And then looking at kind of where he lets in goals. So from him, like he's really good kind of in that face-off dot, like shots from kind of the face-off dot. And then the one kind of area concern is right-handed shot points. So think of like Brent Burns, right? Brent Burns launching pucks from what would be his, kind of the right-handed side there. That's kind of been his bugaboo of where he gives up maybe a little bit more goals than he probably should. But so for Jake Allen, right? I think he is easily the best goalie in available via free agency. Especially now that like Joey Decord signed a new contract. I think he became the goalie, if you're looking for somebody to start games and play. And again, the kind of way I'm picturing this is the Dustin Wolf thing, right? Where Dustin Wolf split. They were very like Wolf Ladard to start the season, right? Until Wolf basically wrestled that job away kind of midway through the season. And I fully expect that's kind of the approach you're going to see with Askarov and whatever goalie, right? You don't want to just start having Askarov, starting 60 games a season. Like I think you want to put him in a position to succeed. We know he's gotten kind of was dinged up a little bit last year. I think for the Sharks, finding a goalie where like Jake Allen, who you feel like is going to, can give you 35 to 40 starts, like realistically 35 to 40 starts. I think Allen can be that guy for you going forward. What does this contract look like? And again, just a reminder, the Sharks have $20 million in caps or $40 million in cap space and need to spend about $20 million to kind of comfortably get over the cap floor. And they have one goalie under contract, and that's Yaroslav Askarov, starting his 2-year deal at $2 million AAV. So Jake Allen is actually projected to sign a 2-year deal at $2.512 million. 40% likelihood. This is coming, of course, from Evolving Hockey. There's a 1% chance he signs a 7-year deal. If you sign Jake Allen to a 7-year deal, God bless you. But yeah, so Allen is the most likely outcomes for Allen is he signs either a 1-year deal at basically 1.9 million. That's 32% chance, or 32% likelihood, and a 2-year deal at 2.5 million, which is a 40% likelihood. So for the Sharks, this is a perfect fit of getting a guy who can come in and help stabilize your backup position while your goalie of the future rounds into form, right? And then 2 years from now, when you're probably going to have to pay Askarov a much bigger contract than $2 million for potentially a much longer time, then you can kind of look for the cheaper end, looking at some kind of cheaper backups who are only going to be maybe playing like 20 to 30 games a season compared to maybe closer to half of the season, like we're kind of projecting right now with going into this season. So I think Jake Allen, I think he's a guy who, again, he's played in big playoff games. He's been on a team that went to the Stanley Cup and won a Stanley Cup. He is a player who I think would be a perfect type of player to put behind Askarov, who, again, if you need him to come in and play, 35 to 40 games, or come in and play a few starts in a row because Askarov is maybe dinged up, or Askarov just needs to kind of catch his breath for a game or two, I think Allen is that type of guy. So he would be number one on my book, and I'm sure he's going to be number one on a lot of teams' books to try to kind of come in and fill a role for you. So, but yes, so Jake Allen, number one. We're going to be looking at a couple guys here, little bit more questions to their games, including Ilya Samsonov, and if he was maybe propped up by Vegas a little bit. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Oklahoma City, pretty good. Maybe just keep betting on SGA to do fun SGA things, because SGA is a pretty fun player. So right now, too, if you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, before we continue, we're going to talk about Ilya Samsonov here and Alex Lyon. Do, of course, want to thank you for making the Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe as we are continuing to kind of build out the plan, at least my offseason plan for the San Jose Sharks, with the second pick in the draft, and of course $40 million in cap space, and what should be a really fun summer. So we're all kind of working towards that simulated offseason that'll come out about a week before the draft. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, so the next guy, Ilya Samsonov, is kind of who I'm focusing on next. I think is the next best guy potentially available via free agencies. So Samsonov, he had a former first-round pick in 2015 from Washington. He's played with the Capitals, Toronto, and then last season spent playing with Vegas, backing up Aiden Hill. He is 6'3", 208 pounds. He's 28 years old, coming off a one-year contract at $1.8 million AAV. Played 29 games last year, 282 goals against, 891 save percentage, 82 goals allowed. Expected goals allowed was 82.6. So his goals saved above expected was 0.6 with an 801 high danger save percentage. His numbers, he kind of peaked a couple years ago playing for Toronto, and had a really bad season in 23-24, but then kind of bounced back a little bit playing with the Golden Knights. So he's at a 54% WAR, but a lot of that is being kind of propelled by his 22-23 season, where he was like an 80% WAR type of player. He's pretty good on even strength. Penalty kill is a little bit of a struggle. Very good high danger percentage, but he's going to let in some soft ones. Samsonov, though, is going to give you quality starts and excellent starts, but if he gives you, if it goes bad, it goes bad type of performance from him. And I think that kind of relates to that low, giving up some of the soft, low danger and mid danger type of goals. So where his goals are kind of coming for, where he struggles, definitely left point shots, and then both of the face-off circles are kind of where he struggles the most with kind of giving up goals here. So I do think, though, if you strike out on Allen, I do think Samsonov is a pretty solid replacement, especially for, again, a team like the Sharks who do give up a ton of high danger chances. He should at least be able to keep you in those, but I do think some of the soft goals and those low danger ones that you give up are probably going to drive you nuts. So a little bit tough there. Another kind of thing to keep in mind, he is Russian. So that is a night if you're trying to get a potentially good combination for Askarov, having another Russian goalie who has played a lot of hockey in his time, right? He's got Ilya Samsonov. He's got 200 career games played, through the past 6 seasons. 902 save percentage with 277 goals against and 15 shutouts. So you're hoping that he can maybe somewhat get back to that 22-23 season with Toronto, but that does feel very much like a kind of looking back at that season. That feels like a spike from him compared to what we've seen for the past couple seasons where he's been kind of around that 890 save percentage. And you're also hoping getting to work with Thomas Spears will definitely help him out as well. So projected contract for him is projected to sign a 3-year, most likely going to sign a 3-year deal at $3.134 million, 29% likelihood. He's also could sign a 1-year deal at 1.6, $2 million at 25%, or a 2-year deal at 2.43 with 20% likelihood. So again, we're kind of really focusing on these players who are next couple seasons, right? Just to kind of solidify behind Askarov. And I think if you can get him on a potential 2-year deal, and maybe you overpay a little bit for the AAV, potentially get him on a 2-year deal where, again, you're trying to hope that it times out with Askarov's next deal, and then you can kind of shift your financials a little bit with Askarov, kind of hopefully being the guy that we expect Askarov to be. So the next guy here is Alex Lyon. So Lyon also, like every goalie, has bounced around a little bit in the NHL. He's 32 years old, undrafted player, broke in with the Philadelphia Flyers, also played with Carolina, Florida, and then spent the last 2 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings. So Lyon this year, so he's 6'1", 196, 32 years old, coming off a 2-year deal at $900,000. So spoiler, he's going to be the cheapest out of all these players, or at least expensive. 30 games, 281 goals against, with an 896 save percentage. Had 73 goals allowed on expected goals of 75.37, so 2.4 goals saved above expected, with an 817 high danger save percentage. So he's a player kind of the same thing where 22-23 was excellent, where he was up near like the top of the league when it comes to WAR, so wins above replacement. That was also playing with the Florida Panthers, who in a much smaller role, where he only played 15 games that year. Last 2 seasons with Detroit, he's played much more games. Of course, right, being the backup to Bobrovsky, you're never going to be the guy. So he's kind of not great at even strength at 37%, but he's great on the penalty kill, great at high danger saves, but again, going to kind of give up some soft ones here and there. Does struggle with consistency. You're not going to get excellent out of him, but you're not going to get bad. Like, he's probably going to be solid every night. So looking at where he, kind of his numbers, again, pretty uninspiring kind of compared to what the team did. He's very good on his left side, especially from the face-off dot. Struggles on his right side. So something to kind of keep in mind there with him. Projected contract. He's projected to sign a 52% likelihood that he signs a 3-year deal at $3.294 million. You can also see a 2-year deal at 2.94 and a 1-year deal at 1.927. So pretty much kind of in line with the others. So these are I think the 3 best goalie options for, again, guys who have played in the league for a while. Again, Alex Lyon he's got 113 games played in the NHL. Over 8 years. Has been mostly a backup during that time, but saw way more action the past 2 seasons with the Red Wings, where he was, the 23-24 season, he played 44 games with 43 starts. This year, he played 30 games with 26 starts, and has a career average of a .902 save percentage and .299 goals against with 4 shutouts. So maybe the most untested of the 3, at least of these guys here. But again, like this free agency goalie crop, like, just dies off rather quickly, to be honest. So, and I don't think we want to rehash Vitek Vanacek, and we already know Alexander Georgiev is not coming back. So, that's kind of why I think maybe a trade might be a more palatable option. So we're going to look at 3 potential trade guys here in just 1 second. All right, before we finish up by looking at 3 players who I think could be had via trade, I do want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, so 3 goalies who I think could be of interest for the Sharks, right? And you look at the Mackenzie Blackwood trade where the Sharks traded a 6th-round pick for a goalie who was kind of coming off an injury, but had shown some decent, or like flashes, or at least sustained levels of excellency, or maybe not excellent, but good play, I guess we'll go with. So, the first player I want to bring up, and I mentioned his name before in other places I know, but I want to bring up Laurent Brossoit. So Brossoit, 6'3", 204 pounds, 32 years old. He has 1 year left on his contract at $3.3 million. He did not play a single game last year, so these numbers are from the previous year when he was playing with the Winnipeg Jets. So in the 23-24 season, he's played 23 games, 2.00 goals against average with a .927 save percentage, 45 goals allowed on a 58.1 expected goals allowed, so 13.1 goals saved above expected with an .862 high danger save percentage. Brossoit currently signed by the Chicago Blackhawks. Again, missed the entire season with an injury, a knee injury. So there is going to be that risk, right? If he can kind of come back. But again, 1 year deal at $3.3 million. With the Blackhawks, right? You just traded for Spencer Knight as part of the Seth Jones trade, and Knight looks like a guy of kind of your goalie of the future. And Arvis Soderblom played really, really well for them last season as well, where he had in 36 games played. Again, the numbers aren't going to be super great because you're playing behind the Blackhawks, just like a lot of the Sharks. Goalies' numbers are deflated. But watching him, like, he really played well and was kind of their guy before they went out and got Spencer Knight. So, and Soderblom is also an RFA. So you would assume Chicago would probably want to go with their 2 young goalies, and Spencer Knight and Soderblom, give them a chance to kind of compete, and then see if you can get something for Brossoit. And again, I'm not like this is probably like a 5th or 6th type of round pick. Like for Chicago, like they have their 2 goalies who they feel good about. Let's just get what we can for Brossoit. And for the Sharks, I think that you're getting a guy who has an excellent chance to kind of rebound into form. previously, he spent most of his time playing with the Jets. That's kind of where he came up with. Of course, when you're playing with the Jets, you're going to be behind Connor Hellebuyck. He came up with the Edmonton Oilers. Then he went over to the Winnipeg Jets and was kind of the backup to Connor Hellebuyck. Spent a couple seasons with Vegas, where he didn't really play too much there as well. This is the guy. The big thing with him is just he hasn't really played a lot of games in this season. The most games he's ever played was that 23-24 season where he played 23 games. So in 10 years, he only has 140 starts or 140 games played. So that is 14 games a season. And I know he missed all of last year. So definitely a little bit of a risk. But if you're looking for a guy who has posted very good numbers in his time with a .911 save percentage, 264 goals against, and 6 shutouts in his career, he would be a player who I think would be worthy of, again, you sling a late round pick to the Chicago Blackhawks, and you see if he can kind of come in and get healthy. So another guy this one's probably a little bolder of a take, but again, kind of in the same boat, and that is Thatcher Demko. Demko, 6'4", 192 pounds, 29 years old, has 1 year left on his deal at $5 million. Last season, also missed a good chunk of the year with an injury. He played 23 games last year at a 2.90 goals against with an .889 save percentage, 63 goals allowed on 64.4, so 1.4 goals saved above expected. High danger save percentage, not great at 795, but Demko has been a dude like in the league. Kind of coming up through with Vancouver. Former All-Star, like this is a guy here. We know the Canucks are the Canucks, and who knows what they're going to do at any given time. But it does, like, Demko is definitely a guy I think who is potentially available. He's going to cost you more, but he could be a guy who comes in, and again, you're probably going to sit down with him and be like, we're going to split the starts between you guys. For you, Demko, right? This is a chance to kind of rehab your image here, and then maybe at the trade deadline, we can kind of do like what we did with our good friend Mackenzie Blackwood and ship you somewhere where you think you might be able to go help a team win the cup. And you can teach our young Russian goalie some stuff here. So as well, probably not going to happen, but it's fun to talk about still as well. So I think the cost though would be a little bit more. And the Canucks, they do have some young goalies that played really, really well last year. But I do like Demko was on Daily Faceoff's kind of trade bait article. So I just wanted to, put it out there. So finally, we have Alex Nedeljkovic. I knew it. I was going to get it. There we go. So 6 foot, 203 pounds, 29 years old, a little bit smaller than what we know what Mike Greer likes to kind of, with his, what he looks for in goalies, at least, right? Nedeljkovic has got 1 year left at $2.5 million. 35 games last year with the Penguins, 312 goals against average, 894 save percentage. Not the prettiest of numbers. We know the Penguins, like the Sharks, not great last year. 112 goals allowed. Expected goals allowed is at 111. So he gave up one more goal than expected with an 801 save percentage. Again, we know the Penguins, not a super great team last year. Again, not that the Sharks, glass houses, et cetera, et cetera. Nedeljkovic, also a little scoring pop there as well. But guy who came up through Carolina, former second-round pick of Carolina in 2014, was actually a Calder finalist in the 2020-21 season, where he posted insane numbers playing behind Carolina. The bubble season, 932 save percentage with a 190 goals against that year. And then was promptly traded to Detroit because Carolina, I think they knew, not as good as you maybe the numbers he posted. Has kind of struggled since then. Played 2 seasons with Detroit, played 2 seasons with the Penguins. 901, 895, 902, and 894 save percentage. When the goals against 331, 353, 297, and a 312. So, and again, the Penguins the past couple of seasons, not the greatest. Does have 9 shutouts in his time, including 4 with Detroit that one year. But the Penguins are kind of in a little bit of a tough spot because, again, we don't really know how they're trying to do this retool here. They, of course, are stuck with Tristan Jarry's contract, who's got 3 seasons, total, like $5.3 million. They also have some young guys who I think they want to start to kind of transition to, including Joel Blomqvist, who, had his ups and downs last year, but I think they kind of see him as their potential guy of the future here. So that could lead to a guy like Nedeljkovic being potentially available for the San Jose Sharks. And again, it's not going to cost you much to acquire him. Like you're looking at like a late round picks, like that's 5th, 6th, 7th round picks to acquire a guy like this who can come in, right? He has shown flashes. He has struggled as well. But again, like you need someone to give you 35 to 40 starts in a season. And I think that he's shown that the last 2 seasons, right, where he started 38 games the last 2 seasons, or he's played 38 games the last 2 seasons, including 33 and 35 starts. And with, basically if you can get average goaltending, which I think he can kind of provide that, I think that's kind of what you're looking for. So, yeah, those are, I think, the realistic goalie options for the San Jose Sharks. So, again, if I had to pick one, I think Jake Allen's the free agent I'm most excited about. And Laurent Brossoit is the trade candidate I would be most excited about if I had to kind of pick one for the San Jose Sharks. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be finishing up our prospect recap. We're going to be looking at the 2024 class. Some kid named Macklin Celebrini. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Celebrini tomorrow. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.